Classic.
You
There's
gotta
no
add the
audio.
sound.
You didn't hit the button, Daphne.
Yeah, stop sharing, share, and then click the share sound button, and then share your screen.
Did it not share the sound?
No, we got the
Oh,
video,
sorry.
but no audio.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't automatically share the sound. Okay.
Yeah, just click the share the screen and
Yeah,
you get
share sound. I see it. I see it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on
We're
it.
keeping this intro.
It's a rite of passage.
Here we go.
Ready, set, go.
On this 29th of April 2023, and we are on season 9, week 4, just starting week 5. My name is Daphne Romani. I'm a season 9 student, and today I'll be joined by Nick Hayes and How You as co-hosts, and we'll be taking a look at the weekend review about topics, and more importantly, about the awesomeness of this course. As I was preparing for this show, this topic just kept coming back and emerging as just how powerful this program is. Nick, how do you want to say hi, introduce yourselves?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go. Hey, everybody. I am Nick, and I'm a season 5 graduate. Very happy to be here today, and always grateful to be invited to participate and do it live. It's one of my favorite aspects of the course. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to the next, well, to the rest of this episode. Let's see what unfolds.
I'm Hao, and I'm also a season 5 graduate. So today is my first time to speak in front of so many people. So I really want to have a chance to break out my complexity of public speaking. Okay.
Well, great. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining me and co-hosting this show. This is also my first time hosting this, so I'm looking forward to see how the event will unfold and all the awesome contributions that the community members will produce, I guess. In over the last few weeks, I've already had quite significant shifts in in my life, I guess, and I just wanted to break it down and review just how ingenious and brilliant this course has been, or it's just set up and designed to do the work, not to do the work for you, but it is designed in such a way to just coax things out and reveal just what the next steps can be. Okay, so I'm looking for an image to share, and I can't find it on my share screen. So you can hold on a second. Go to desktop. Can you see anything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it the right thing?
What are you trying to show us?
The autonomy curriculum.
Yes, we got it.
Okay. Okay. I think my computer is freezing. So that's another technical complexity. There you have it. I can't see anything anymore.
We can see the overview of the course, the 12 weeks with a summary of just some of the things that happen on each
Okay.
week. You got it?
Excellent. Yes. So, you know, the first 3 weeks are really broken down to help us weed out all of our limiting beliefs and items that are just stopping us from moving forward. And, you know, after all of that, and it's done very gradually and very gracefully and with tools provided so that we can, you know, build up the courage, build up the tools, build up the power, and just practice within a safe environment to just try to move forward. And at the same time, it also sparks an immense level of creativity, and it helps us to really get us going with, you know, all the potential that we have within us and within our lives.
I think Daphne just disappeared.
I'm making
Lost
you.
internet.
Oh, I'm making you the host, Nick.
Awesome. I can riff a little bit.
Off you go, Nick.
All right, then. I can riff a little bit while we wait for Daphne to get back into the call about unlocking creativity. I have a very powerful testimonial.
She's getting her complexity triggered right now.
Yeah,
Which
she might
is the
she might
best
not have
workout.
realized. She might still be talking.
Well, it'll probably bump her out of Zoom and she'll just jump back in. Maybe the screen share was too much for her computer.
She was saying
And-
she has a poor internet connection today.
And real quick, since you guys made me break the fourth wall of silence over here, Hal, it's so nice to see you co-hosting. Congratulations. This is a big moment for you. I'm so pleased to see you. Yeah. Yeah. And Nick's here to help you, so you don't have to feel too nervous. But, you know, sometimes when you're host, things go sideways and it's up to the co-host and the other people around to make a show of it. So you guys might be center stage. We'll see. Nick will start playing guitar. Right? All right, let's see how you guys play this one.
We've got guitar, we've got face readings, we got all sorts. What's it gonna be?
I have a question for Hal. Do you have a light that you could turn on so we could see you better?
Maybe.
So is there a way to continue what
Is that
you was
looks
talking
better?
about the curriculum?
And I'm back.
She's back.
I apologize. Of course, my computer, I think, doesn't have the juice anymore to resolve, to run too many things at once. I apologize. So how far did you see? Did it stop right away?
We saw the picture and we heard you talk about the first 3 weeks and then it cut.
Okay. So I guess I will just speak to it without sharing it for the moment. Yes, so the first 3 weeks are really designed to cut through all of the problematics of our daily lives and all the blocks that we have been trained and ingrained to just put in front of ourselves. And we have been given enough tools to wade through all that muck and really let things flow. And for me personally, this has really translated into a lot of flow and both ideas, creativity, and just things materializing before my eyes. That so much so that when we got to week 4, there was the first slide that appeared had to do with freedom being the luxury of not doing what you don't want to do. And sure enough, that's exactly what I managed to manifest at the end of that week, just before that slide appeared. And I realized just how powerful it is at luring things out and at making things happen for ourselves just by taking small steps and having them really sharp laser focus on it. And I really would like to find out from everybody else as well, just how much has anybody else experienced this in their journey through autonomy, whether it's the season 9, just it 4 weeks in, or whether you're a autonomy graduate and maybe you have repeated multiple seasons. And if you have any inputs and amazing experiences, I would like to hear them, and I'm sure everybody else would like to know about them as well. I think Nick mentioned he had some powerful experiences in his journey. Do you want to share anything, Nick?
Sure, I'll tell a quick story. I'm a musician, and I have been since I was about 12 or 13 years old. And I've always been in bands of various sizes, but I've never written my own music. I've always played other people's music. And what happened to me in my first season of Autonomy, I discovered a latent songwriting ability. And I managed to crank out probably 7 or 8 songs with the lyrics and the melody and me playing my guitar and singing very poorly. A good friend of mine from season 5 advised that I actually get singing lessons, which I haven't done yet. But it's that kind of constructive feedback and encouragement that we get here in Autonomy. But I'd never set out to write songs, and I had no idea that that was something that I could do. Never thought of myself as a songwriter. And then once I'd done these sort of very roughly recorded songs using the voice memo app on my phone to record the singing and the guitar, I shared them around a little bit, got some really nice feedback, and it made me realize, well, this is another skill that I can utilize and share with people to spread joy or to spread information. And that kind of peaked for me last Christmas when we were invited to write or record a testimonial for James Corbett. So many of us arrived at the course because we follow James Corbett and the Corbett Report. And in my case, that's how I learned about Richard Grove and the Autonomy course, was following James Corbett around through the digital ghettos and eventually following him to an episode of Grand Theft World. And so we were invited to write a testimonial to say thank you to James. And I was able to write this testimonial and record it in song form. And I'd also recently learned some very, very basic video editing skills. And that plus the songwriting skills that were unlocked through my Autonomy journey put together, I was able to make a lyric video that I recorded and then shared to the community. And it ended up being featured on James Corbett's 2022 end of year review, which was a deep honor. And I was extremely grateful for that to happen. And none of that ever would have happened if I hadn't taken the plunge and signed up to enroll in Autonomy.
Wow, that's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. That sounds like a really exciting move forward. How do you have any stories you would like to share?
Well, I remember the season 5. I was too nervous to talk in front of more than one. So I only attended the first one Q&A. I remember when the breakout room started, I just quit.
Yeah,
Well,
well, look at you now.
Yeah, it's like I sit for like the dozens of people. But I still get very nervous. But it's a great advance, I think.
Why,
Great
did you think we
achievement.
were gonna be mean in the breakout or what?
I
You're
would be some very negative thought and imagination, like what gonna be happens.
And so then when you
Yeah.
finally went to a breakout room, did you have a different experience than you expected?
Yes. It's like after I found it's what different than what I imagined. Maybe I should think about um the like the past related experience less. And which this one is also related to the today's topic about the interview we have in the lecture 4 about the set. Let me look up set guys. I think it's set.
Are you talking about the Joe Dispenza?
Yeah, the juice dispenser. Yeah.
Yeah, we can share that. Is there anybody in a minute? Let's see if there's anybody else that has any breakthrough stories, whether
I
it's
have
from
a
this
story.
season. Go
I have a
ahead,
story.
Trigby.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So you know, we have here in the Twin Cities, we have a pretty good Freedom Cell. And one of the events that we have weekly meetings, and there's other groups that get together and do gardening and stuff like that. But one of my favorite things is our quarterly potlucks, because we'll have anywhere between 50 and 100 people there. And they're all eager to know, you know, what's going on and what they can do to get involved to try and, you know, make the world a better place and stuff like that. Well, at those events, we also have, so potluck is where everybody has food, hopefully the best food they can think of to bring and serve to everybody. And then we also have an agora where people sell what they make. And in the past, I can chili, so I bring jars of chili and I sell them. And I also make maple syrup and stuff, but I really don't want to sell that because I'd have to charge too much, or else I'd be making like $2 an hour when I make the darn stuff. Anyway,
Dude, charge too much.
charge too much. Yeah.
Yeah, do it.
So-
People will buy it. Charge like
Okay.
gourmet prices.
Okay, well,
Then
now I got inspired partly by Joe and partly by Richard the last couple of weeks about you know, breaking down the walls and being productive and stuff like that. And I picked up a product here. This is from Trader Joe's, and it's sous vide, if anybody knows how to do sous vide. So it's a fully cooked chicken that you can keep in your refrigerator for over a month in the fridge. And it takes like 6 minutes to cook it, to heat it up and serve it. So I'm like, wow, that's a really great product. And I know how to do sous vide. So I decided that for our quarterly potluck, and it's next Sunday on the 7th. So I probably won't be at the event on Sunday, but it's because I'll be at the Freedom Cell meeting. And I'm gonna have a bunch of this chicken that I just went out and bought 10 pounds of chicken and 20 pounds of rice, and I'm gonna smoke it in my smoker, and then I'm gonna cook it in the sous vide and put it in these packages that you can keep in your refrigerator for up to 30 days, and it takes 6 minutes to heat and serve it. So it's like really selling convenience. And I have a beautiful recipe that's hot with peppers from my garden, sweet with maple syrup from my maple trees, and very spicy. So it's a really delicious recipe, and people are, I'm pretty sure, going to be floored because it's super convenient and it's super delicious. And so I just decided I'm going to do it. I'm just going to go ahead and do this and have a cooler full of the stuff available, and I'm going to be serving it out of my little hot dish. So when people come by, I can give them a little cup full of it. And then, you know, now I haven't figured out how much I'm going to charge. And I always get stuck there because I don't know. It's like I want it to be a side hustle, but I don't want to charge too much and stuff like that. So anyway, that's the end of my story. But got the inspiration from here from Autonomy. So thanks.
Can I just
That's
ask
a
you
really
question?
great story.
Why don't you want to charge too much?
Well, I don't want to charge too much.
What if somebody is like really liking your cooking and wants to pay $10 a jar? You still don't want to do it?
Yeah, I'm thinking I might charge $10.
Like, for example, with your chili, like, what if you're selling the chicken and you got like 4 jars of chili and everybody's like, hey, is that chili for sale? You'd be like, no, that's for a special customer. It's way too expensive. You wouldn't be able to afford it. It's like $20 a jar, but it's for the special customer. And they'd be like, well, what's so special about it? And you tell them what's special about it. But they're like, no, it's not for sale. And so they'll either ask you to make it for sale, right? Or, but like, and the worst thing that can happen, you take the chili back home and eat it.
Right.
Like
No,
if you don't
the
sell
chili
it for $20 or whatever the crazy price you put it, if you don't sell it, just take it home.
The worst thing that could happen is you keep underselling yourself so that you can't afford to continue to bring your great chili out to everybody.
Yeah, I know. So this is part of my struggle, and it's one of the reasons that I wanted to get in this class. It has to do with pricing things, so that because I need to get paid for my effort, and it's never going to turn into a side gig unless it's profitable.
It's a shared struggle, and I bet Richard has a formula for you.
Well, I've got where there's nothing more convenient than either product. They're both just heat and eat. One of them's in the fridge and one of them's on the shelf. And so they store for just about ever. I mean, 30 days is a long time.
Yeah, well, I think this is a perfect example of the limiting beliefs that we put on ourselves. So it's just a matter of keep practicing and pushing the boundaries, evaluating what you're, push at that comfort level that you currently have, and saying, oh, I should charge this much. Well, then add $1 or $2 just to that boundary and see how that feels. Sit on it for a little bit, and then
12
see
bucks.
how. and then just play with that boundary, because eventually you'll reach a comfort level. We've been given all these tools to burst right through all these limiting beliefs that we just put on ourselves. And I guess that step number 1 could be, okay, evaluate what does it cost you to make that, and divide it into so many packages, and see what it should really be. Then you add $1 or $2 to that, see how that sits with you, and if you can handle that, and then move from there. And it's always a process, I find, for every single time we tackle a new challenge.
So
do competitor research, see what other people are doing, and look at the quality of product that they're putting out there at that price point.
Right. Well, it's going to be hard to compete. This is Trader Joe's. It's going to be hard to compete.
Yeah, but you are not Trader Joe's. Your product is not Trader Joe's. Your product is higher quality. You have homegrown peppers. You have organic chicken. You have all these elements that go into your product that is 10 times higher quality than Trader Joe's is. But now you're making it into that convenience, and so there is you have solid ground there to justify the price. And
add on that your clients are people that want to contribute to other like-minded individuals that share their same values and are happy to pay more in order to do that.
Beautiful.
And also your customers may not be at the same economic level as yourself. Like, you're looking at the stores you shop at and the products you buy, and you're comparing the product that you have, that's gourmet product, with these regular products that you're looking at, right? You're comparing apples and oranges. Go to the richest neighborhood of the nearest town and go into like boutique store there and see how much jar of chili looks there. The other thing, I would caution you against the gourmet product being shelf stable, because like, if they want to care for it and if it's really awesome, it should be in the fridge where
Yeah,
The-
yeah.
the
So
chili.
the chicken
No,
will
the
be in the
chili.
fridge.
No, I'm talking about the chili. I'm talking
Oh,
about the
that's
chili.
canned.
You can tell them it's canned, right? But you can say it's best to be kept in the fridge to make it more precious sounding.
Well, maybe I'll
But-
make that kind.
And we're talking about not you buying it. We're talking
Right.
about yuppies, rich
Right.
urban professionals.
No, I
Right?
hear you.
So the
Yeah,
price point's different.
so I just got done spending $60 for 10 pounds of chicken. All right. So $6 a pound. And I thought maybe if I sell it for $12 a pound, then I'm compensating myself, and I don't feel guilty about it because I'm adding so much convenience to the package and delicious flavor. Both. They get to enjoy both the convenience and the delicious flavor because of the value that I added to the food.
Are you
Right.
factoring in your bookkeeper?
No, I don't have one. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah,
like
well, those
what-
are all go ahead, Darren.
Oh, thank you, Daphne. I just wanted to kind of tie in with what you were saying about how autonomy is just stretching us. And when Trygve's sharing with what he's doing, I'm thinking about it, and I'm just kind of putting it through my filter, and I'm going, well, I want to grow hydroponic organic cucumbers and use my pressure canner and produce pickles. And I thought, that's kind of similar to what Trygve's looking to do. And when I would, I'm really curious what we're going to learn in autonomy about, different marketing directives, but I'm already inspired to sort of begin thinking outside the box and have conversations with other people. And finding a market for his product might be as simple as a field finding mission, depending on the integrity of his marketplace. He might be able to make a free offering out there with a QR code and go, if this isn't the best X, Y, Z that I've got in this package, then you don't have to pay me for it. But if you do, the deal is that you make this digital connection by donation and share this with someone else, and then you can just kind of like have it like a rewards program built out, and you're going to find by your donations where your price point is for that specific market. But it's just autonomy, just giving us tools and skills to sharpen our drawer for out of the box thinking. Anyways, Trygve, that's thank you. You just inspired me to speak up.
Thanks, Darren.
Yeah, in addition to the course material, here's another perfect example of how autonomy is so powerful. There is a community of thinking people and individuals that are constantly looking for solutions. As soon as something is uttered, everybody's mind is immediately trying to find solutions and resolve somebody's pain point and resolve and help each other past the struggles that we all go through. It's just phenomenal how many people have such great contributions every time there is a session, a group session, and people have the presence of mind to open up to their mic and their camera and talking to others and presenting their vulnerabilities. So this is what's making this so powerful for me, and I can see it helping so many people. Is there anybody else that would like to share autonomy?
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
had an interesting direct experience coming into this as I'm listening to everybody and how we are stretched. But it reminds me of when I first started sailing offshore. I had been sailing inside the bays for a while, and I thought, oh, I'm pretty good at this. And then I went out to sea and I realized, I don't know anything. And so I got really quiet and I held back, and I was like, whoa, the people out here know so much more than me. And I pulled back and I didn't know how I fit in. I'm having a parallel experience here where I came in thinking, oh, I can help a lot of people and I can do this and I can teach and I can do that. And then boom, I see what's going on here. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything. And I was trying to figure out, well, how do I fit in here? And I got permission in one of the larger lectures that, well, you don't have to know, just let things unfurl naturally and it'll come to you. And I am, now that I have permission to not know everything, but to be in my uncertainty and not feel the fear about it, just sail into the mystery. And I'm so excited to be here and see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. And something is going to happen that I don't think any of us here know yet, but it's just emerging, and it's so exciting to hear how everyone is discovering who they are, recognizing what we are all about, how our collective energy can work together to bring out something new, and to have the freedom to be who we are. So thank you, Daphne. Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing that, Dave. In fact, I have that clip lined up to be shared with the group right now, because I thought that was extremely powerful and relevant to the subject. So if that's okay, I might try to share that, but I think I'm afraid that my computer might crash again. So what do you think? Should I try it, or
you could have Nick share it.
Yeah, Nick, do you have I shared the, I don't know if he queued it up though. Hold on. I have the minutes here. I can tell you exactly where the. Are you still there, Nick?
I am still here.
Okay,
but I just
so
got
I don't
back.
know if, yeah,
What
okay.
happened?
So I would like to share the little clip from the Q&A that we had where Dave expressed this pain point, and Richard encouraged them not to try too hard to finding his next steps.
Sure.
If you could share it, because I don't want my Zoom to crash again. It's at minute 46:09.
All right, I'm gonna need a
Oh,
little bit of
this,
time, so cover for me.
Okay, so we'll get back to that. Is there anybody else that wants to share their wins so far or from past season?
Sure, I'll say something. I definitely feel a lot better with who I am, and autonomy has helped that a lot. I was the wallflower for most of the first part of season 8. And then I kind of like, once the season ended and it got a little quieter, that's when I started to come out. So I'm still working on it. I still have imposter syndrome, but I think I've gotten better, and I've gotten better with the help of the entire community. It's been great. And Dave had a great analogy, like that with the water. I completely understand that, because I was on a ship in small boats, and it's such a difference. You're steering a ship as opposed to steering a small boat, but you're driving the small boat. And that, yeah, like I feel like I got this, and then I'm like, wow, I have no idea what I'm doing. This is terrifying. Been there. But that's what autonomy was to me. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Daphne.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. No, so you are from what, season 8?
Yeah.
Graduate?
Yeah, season 8 graduate. So this is my second season. No, but
it
now
sounds
this
like
season
you're doing. Sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, please.
It looks like you have made major progress since season 8 with your growth hour. You want to talk about that?
Sure. Yeah, like that's one thing that I really started to kind of crawl out of my shell too, is that, you know, I started the weeds and seeds because I'm really excited to get people growing things, and like for all of us, everybody already does, to like share, especially in this world. And so one of the things I did was the hydro tower. I'm working on that as a project. I'm not sure. There's a lot on the market, and I just decided I wanted to do the DIY thing because I want people to have food independence. And if you don't have garden space, or even if you do, this is an option, and it's something you can make yourself that customizes to your space. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm excited because I actually just upped the nutrients 2 days ago. So it's like grow time. I'm actually getting food. I'm going to use some of it for pizza tonight.
Nice. Very good. So Nick, how are you doing on the queuing up that video?
I've got the video. I'm not sure I've found the right place in the video.
Oh, okay,
but
it's minute 46.
I was looking at 40.
09.
Yeah. All right, we're good. We're good to go. I am going to share the screen, which is a very
Thank you,
flattering
Nick.
freeze frame of our courageous, intrepid navigator. Is that coming through? Let me know.
Let me know.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. And I'm going to need a prompt when to stop. So please tell me when I need to hit pause again.
After, okay.
Can you hear that?
Oh. Yes, it hasn't, yes.
We can't hear it.
I did the same thing. All right, here we go. Let's try that again. Share screen. This one. Share sound.
That's a super easy mistake to make.
Thank you.
His evangelist. Dave, you're up.
All right, thank you. And it turns out it's a bit of a course change here, but what caused my chuckle earlier had to do with the time zones. And when Darren, at the very end of at 0300 for me, it was too late. He asked me to chime in on something to support him. And it was too late for me to gather any kind of momentum or thought. And I'm glad you Richard to save me. I couldn't get my mind to come up with any words. But it turns out I went back to find in my notes what it was Darren was referring to about the pushing and pulling. And so I found this amazing video about, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it was—
Is it called How to Push Rope?
No. Different thing. But this was how to be unshakable. And this morning when I was watching that, and then I was watching this other thing about David Allen's and your thing in the course pre to this was about being unstoppable. And it's coming to me, Richard, what it is I'm here to do. And on all these interviews, people ask me, well, what are you here to do? What is your obstacle? And I feel like I'm getting closer, but I'm not quite there yet. I have several projects coming together, kind of like the mists of Avalon clearing, and I don't quite have the vision yet, but it's getting closer. So this thing about being unshakable and unstoppable, I want to bring together in my education endeavor here in Maine and here with the SEA program and here with other projects I'm working on that are really coming right into the, they're hull up on the horizon, and I'm like almost there. So, but this thing about unshakable was really cool because so much of what I sense going on here in the University of Reason and Autonomy has to do with moving everyone forward in business and making money and challenging yourself. And believe me, I'm very challenged by a lot of these things. But what I would love to take all of this and move it in toward not just mindset, but integrate heart set. And I know you're open and bring this in, Richard, but so much of your focus, and correctly so, because it's so different, the way the world is rapidly changing. Thank you for preparing everyone. But at this stage for me, I want to bring in the inner navigation and how to be unshakable, even if things don't go the way we imagined it to go, and build on to the unstoppable and add what happens when you get, something comes up that you didn't anticipate to be unshakable. And that's what I tried to mention to Darren the other day, that when he
All
called.
right, so to use your metaphor, I mean, I give you a compass and a map in the course, but you're saying what's not on the compass or the map is the weather. And so during weather, you need to use your compass because you might not be able to see the stars to navigate. So your compass is your morality, your ethics, your integrity, and you're in control of keeping that needle on point, right? Now you might have a map and discover something that's not there, but actually in the terrain. So you're going to add rocks off this island. There's a shoal of rocks here, or something, and you want to add that, right? And then the rest is just keeping your wits during the storm, keeping your buoyancy and your mobility. And that's what when you refer to like making money, it's like, I don't like to make money, but money's a useful tool and I know how to go get it and put it into action, right? There are people that love money, and that is the root of all evil, the love of money over people. Money otherwise is a very useful tool. It's been around since before biblical times. They used to use seashells and all sorts of crazy stuff in places for money, and we still can. If our money went away, we would still need to trade, and maybe we use nuts and bolts or pennies or something. You know, we would use these things and would say this is now $1, and we would make our way forward just like we always have as human beings, because human beings haven't always had government to tell them what to do and when to do it, and here's the penalty in the cage if you don't. Right. So in many cases, the philosophical parts that Bobby's referring to, while I agree with those things, those make sense. We're born into a situation that already has a different set of rules running. And to try to switch from one to the other, like anytime soon, probably not going to happen. But you know what we could have? A lot less tyranny. You know, we could go back to, let's focus on our Bill of Rights, and that the constitutional republic has a government, but that government is there solely to protect the rights of the people. Not to keep the people safe, to protect their rights. Now, if another country wants to come take our rights, the government should push back. And we have tax dollars, and we're going to allot some people to stand by in case that happens. But it doesn't need to be the tune of $3 trillion a year or whatever they're really spending outside. You know, they have a budget, and then they have the black budget. You know, there's what they show you and what they're actually doing, right? And a lot of that actually doing money comes from slush funds, from arms deals and drug trading and human trafficking and a whole bunch of other stuff that none of us want to go on in our world. Yet as adults, we understand that stuff's going on, and it's probably always been going on through human history. It's going on more now because of how much money artificially they've put into the market. So it's going to seem artificially bad. But as human beings, I think once we are aware that people are deceiving us, we withdraw our trust, unless we're in a Stockholm syndrome because we've watched and been conditioned for so long. But even then, I think people, they'll get the slap in the face at some point that, whoa, wait, they're lying about this, and the lies are being used to kill innocent people, and they're signing my name and my money onto that. I don't know if I agree with that. Great, welcome to being an adult. We consider such things, whereas other people are just like, oh, this is just how it goes, nothing I can do. So we choose to participate consciously, and we're going to ask some questions, and if you have good answers, we'll move forward with trust. And if you don't have good answers, then we might reserve our right to say no thank you please and stand our ground. And we're not to be compelled or cajoled or pushed forward, but you can lead us forward with logic and reason, substance and evidence, these sort of things. You know, this is how we've always survived as sane, conscious people. So lots of navigation metaphors, but getting back to what to do when you encounter the weather or the waves is batten the hatches, hope for the best, and know that your preparation prior to that is what's going to pay off. And also know that you can't push a rope, and that I was joking when I said that.
Yeah, very good. Very good. And I agree with absolutely all of that. And so it's true. You can trim the sails, you can set the sails, you can heave to, you can do all these things, but you have to sail the wind you have. And I totally agree with that. And so I'm still trying to figure out exactly my specific purpose here, but my overall purpose is the same as everyone here. That's to include everybody. We're all important. We all need to discover our gifts, bring our gifts forward. And I was listening to the Mark Passio homework assignment this morning, and he was talking about, I think it was his seminar about, do we teach intelligence, or are we training slavery? And so this whole educational piece is paramount for me. And I'm building on it and trying to figure out how to break the concepts that everyone here needs to know to get here. But how do we bring this forward into different communities who are so rigid? They're holding on so tight to their rigid beliefs that they're getting rope burn. So anyway, this is my challenge right now. And I am actually getting closer and closer to developing my specific purpose, knowing that our overall purpose, we're all here to be our own unique expressions of love and bring that forward in whatever way we can figure out. But
all right, so cool. So my first advice is
one last comment, and that is that money is, I completely agree. It's a means of fair exchange. And all right, and I'll cut myself off here.
Don't try so hard finding your meaning.
So there it is. We have permission not to try so hard. And the beauty is this course is designed so sharply to just extract it out of us. And so slowly it will just pull it out, whether we even know what that purpose is going to be or not yet, because we have it in us. And so that's the essence of today's Do It Live, and the beauty of that. I hope you can all relate to that. The other surprising aspect of this particular course is, I was slightly surprised, but then it shouldn't be any surprise that, at the spirituality that's interwoven into all of it. Everybody here has a level of spirituality that is beyond what's normally found out in the world. And I say it shouldn't be surprised, because truly we're all in a growth mindset, and that's part of the beginning lectures, is to activate that growth mindset versus the victim mindset. And so being in that space, so for highlighting that, one of the clips for last week's integration exercises was actually a clip by Joe Dispenza. How would you like to line up that video and
sure
and share it?
Yeah, I will remember to share the sound.
Yes.
Well played, sir.
Let me see. It's set. Wait, movie and TV share the sound. And wait, how I start? Okay, here we go.
About the predictable.
Oh, wait. So I need to introduction first. So on today's topic, we are going to discuss about how can we use the free will to break the mental prison and improve our lives. So before we start, I just want to make sure we are in the same page, using the same language. So let's start it. Great.
About the predictable. It's all about predicting the future. But the quantum model of reality is about causing an effect. The moment you start feeling abundant and worthy, you are generating wealth. The moment you're empowered and feel it, you're beginning to step towards your success. The moment you start feeling whole, your healing begins. And when you love yourself and you love all of life, you'll create an equal. And now you're causing an effect.
Okay, so let's have a short discussion. So the Newtonian world model is more like passive and less free will, while the quantum model is more proactive. Nevertheless, it also creates the new realities and maybe even the chain reactions by creating the positive feedback loop and it will allow you to create more realities on the way, I think. So after we understand the nuclear power of the nuclear power of what's that? The nuclear power of the Newton, the quantum model, the quantum model. So let's move on to how the habit is created. And maybe I can call this process as the coding your quantum computer between your ears. So let's keep on.
Think and how you feel creates your state of being. So the person's entire state of being when they start their day is in the past. So what does that mean? The familiar past will sooner or later be predictable future. So if you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, and you can't think greater than how you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, by very definition of emotions, you're thinking in the past. And for the most part, you're going to keep creating the same life. So then people grab their cell phone, they check their WhatsApp, they check their text, they check their emails, they check Facebook, they take a picture of their feet, they post it on Facebook, they tweet something, they do Instagram, they check the news, and now they feel really connected to everything that's known in their life. And then they go through a series of routine behaviors. They get out of bed on the same side, they go to the toilet, they get a cup of coffee, they take a shower, they get dressed, they drive to work the same way, they do the same things, they see the same people, they push the same emotional buttons, and that becomes the routine, and it becomes like a program. So now they've lost their free will to a program, and there's no unseen hand doing it to them. So when it comes time to change, the redundancy of that cycle becomes a subconscious program. So now 95% of who we are by the time we're 35 years old is a memorized set of behaviors, emotional reactions, unconscious habits, hardwired attitudes, beliefs, and perceptions that function like a computer program. So then
that one reminds me like the Jack Sparrow code set. Like if you feel comfortable, you are in danger. Because like when you feel comfortable, you're probably not using the free will. You are using like the past to code because you are using the just doing the habit, being automatons, right? And those kind of technique use the past to code the subconscious mind. Sounds pretty much very familiar with it. I think I saw that, it's what's going on in the media every day. And they are not even using the past, the real past, they just manufactured past called the narrative. Oh, that's how the NPC is created. So let's move on to how can we use that tools to be our own benefit.
the servant now has become the master. And the person all of a sudden, once they step into that unknown, they'd rather feel guilt and suffering because at least they can predict it. Being in the unknown is a scary place for most people because the unknown is uncertain. People say to me, well, I can't predict my future. I'm in the unknown, and I always say the best way to predict your future is to create it. Not from the known, but from the unknown. What thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors do you want to demonstrate in one day? The act of rehearsing them mentally, closing your eyes, and rehearsing the action.
The rehearsing the reaction of what you want, or the
Yeah,
action?
the action of what you want. By closing your eyes and mentally rehearsing some action. If you're truly present, the brain does not know the difference between what you're imaging and what you're experiencing in 3D world. So then you begin to install the neurological hardware in your brain to look like the event has already occurred. Now, your brain is no longer a record of the past. Now it's a map to the future. And if you keep doing it, priming it that way, the hardware becomes a software program. And who knows, you just may start acting like a happy person. And then I think.
Okay. 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 So, no. And I think this one is very similar to Napoleon Hill's philosophy. It's like imagine your best version of yourself. And you are your own, so you are practice like the medias, but you are being your own media. You create your own narrative and your own vision and their own realities in your imagination to coding your behavior. And that way you can trick your brain to have a positive impact on your life. So let's play more example what to do and what not to do.
Being defined by a vision of the future, then you're left with the old memories of the past and you will be predictable in your life. And if you wake up in the morning and you're not being defined by a vision in the future, as you see the same people and you go to the same places and you do the exact same thing at the exact same time, it's no longer that your personality is creating your personal reality. Now your personal reality is affecting or creating your personality. Your environment is really controlling how you think and feel unconsciously, because every person, everything, every place, every experience has a neurological network in your brain. Every experience that you have with every person produces an emotion. So some people will use their boss to reaffirm their addiction to judgment. They'll use their enemy to reaffirm their addiction to hatred. They'll use their friends to reaffirm their addiction to suffering. So now they need the outer world to feel something. So to change then is to be greater than your environment, to be greater than the conditions in your world. And the environment is that seductive. So then why is meditation the tool? Well,
can you
Thank you for
unmute, please?
sharing that.
Unmute. So what part you guys are missing? Like apparently I'm muted like in the last part, right? So what part you guys
No,
starting?
we heard everything you said all the way through, apart from the first few seconds or so of this this break.
So yeah, in the video, the last part, the environment is affecting you. So so and you have the willpower to break through the environment, but keep in mind like willpower is like only 5% of your only 5%. The rest of them is just like 95% is expressed by your habit. So you need one thing is like you need to use the willpower to hold your habit, set up the environment, so you can move smoothly, like automatically. And then the meditation aspect he talked about is help you to focus on the present, be both like create an insulation between the past, especially the trauma in the past and the present. So is there any feedback?
Very
My
nice
feedback is just that you
presentation,
did a
Howard.
really good job.
Thank you.
Yeah, agreed.
I was thinking I'm gonna be grilled on this one, but that kind of past, the imagination which relate to the past, then it's not true.
Oh, I really liked
Thank you
your
for that.
slide deck there in the middle there too with time to speak. That was, that's the best part is you're kind of picking out those highlights for us. You're really bringing in some good conversation there. So Joe Dispenza's got a really good message that we really skated on here this week in our homework. That's for sure. So thanks for bringing that up.
I really liked
Yeah,
what he was saying about how you can imagine something, and if you are so focused and into it, your brain doesn't know the difference between you actually doing it with your physical body and not. And this is obvious to all of us when we just think about dreams and all the sensations and that we experience when we're dreaming. Smells, touch, fear, all these things are so real when we're there. We can pick things up and move them around and talk to people. So it makes perfect sense to me that that you can do this. And I've also heard about, there was an experiment done with basketball players, and they had one group practice throwing hoops and another group just imagining throwing hoops. And when they came back to test which group had improved, there was the same amount of improvement across both groups. So the power of imagination is extremely potent. And if we can learn to harness it, we will make progress towards our goals and our future state that we want to achieve all that easier, and reduce the friction while we're getting there.
And to add to that, what Nick was saying, I really like the part where he talked about how you really go from the environment affecting you to you affecting the environment. And so I thought that was an important aspect to that as well.
And you know, another thought comes up that and thank you so much, Hal, that was wonderful. I appreciate that. But how wonderful all of the intermission clips that are chosen to share with us are so relevant, and we hear it the way we hear it, and we grow the way we grow. And this program, The Power of Autonomy, is fantastic, and we individualize each piece and we grow from it. And I appreciate all of the intermission clips and all of the homework, and it's really a remarkable experience overall for all of us. Even though we experience different, we're all growing and blossoming into our next iteration of who we are becoming. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And that's why autonomy is best for practice, because it creates a friendly environment for you to improve on your skills. So it creates the positive feedback loop.
I just wanted to add still, this clip I found, I was pretty impressed, although I might even disagree a bit on his approach on how to solve, his tools. I can agree or fully understand how I find it fascinating how he analyzes the problem, puts it in words, and gives, a practical tool. So I really like that clip for that, even though I do not fully agree on everything.
Rigby, you had a question or a comment?
Yeah, so I remember on my admission, Lisa Manfredi, I think. She interviewed me before I got in, and she said something about how are you going to take charge of your life, or are you going to let somebody else be in charge? And that left me thinking after that conversation. And I've heard now, Richard would say, well, either you're the one writing the script for your life, or else you're just going to have to succumb to somebody else who's written the script, and you're going to play some role in their script. And and here I like how Dr. Joe brings up, if let's see, what did he say? your script is being written basically by your past, by all your memories. And if you're not the one who's trying to drive the kind of future that you want, then you're just going to be relying upon your past and that's already been written, and look where it's gotten you so far, right? If you just allow for yourself to sort of drift through in a daze, drift through your life and just react to things as they happen, it's just going to keep going just like it is. Whereas if you stop and write a script, and I'm also reminded of the one more thing that Richard said the other day, was that if you're just kind of like going through this corn maze, and I think he was talking about in reference to, well, you might have to take a loan out for college, and then you can get a job and you can follow this path, but you're just sort of like following the path. You're staying in the maze. You're sticking with the way the script is written. You're not making your own script. Your own script says something like, take out a hedge trimmer and just cut a big hole out and go right through the wall. That wall is this obstacle, and you just got to cut through it. And I mean, if you're going to make some scrambled eggs, you're going to have to crack some shells, I guess. You're going to have to take the quantum leap. Anyway, it's cool how everything ties together, I think. So that's great. Good job, Hal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One of the things as well that I
Yeah.
really like about the idea of your past is that you have so much momentum behind certain behaviors. And this is particularly pertinent to me as I reflect on addictive behaviors and times that I've fallen into using particular behaviors to self-soothe or to avoid certain things. There's the longer you do them, there's a certain amount of momentum behind them. And I think this can be what challenges us when it comes to making changes and putting a full stop at the end of bad habits and trying to initiate and build and establish good habits. But I like Joe Dispenza's approach to thinking about this momentum and interrupting it and trying to, it's almost like switching track. A train, it's like flicking that button that switches the track, and then you go off on the other track instead of the one that you've been on for however long. So particularly useful to me to reflect on how much momentum is in certain behaviors, and I want to change them and do these new ones if I spend time to really imagine and think about what I'm saying yes to instead of what I'm saying no to. So in the case of smoking, for example, I was thinking about it earlier today, quitting smoking. Instead of denying myself something and saying no to something, which is how it's often phrased, I was thinking of it in terms of what am I saying yes to? And I'm saying yes to a better smell and body odor. I'm saying yes to a decreased risk of cancer. I'm saying yes to more money in my pocket. So rephrasing these things and feeling and spending time to imagine what it feels like when we have done them or are doing them or have the results that we seek, I think is a really good practice, and it's worthwhile incorporating this into our daily routines.
I think a great voice doesn't smoke too. That's one of the big inspirations for things moving forward. But Nick, I have to give you a lot of honor. I really do, because one of the things that we're working through this week here with Autonomy is breaking out into mastermind groups, and I see the faces and the names that are in our Do It Live here, and there's a couple of familiar names here that we're all going to sort of converge and bring our open learning hats on and learn and grow together, because we all have new distinctions and insights that are unique and different, just being human from one to another. And Nick, I'm really glad that you're co-hosting this event with Daphne and Hal as well, because like you're an example of how a performer is turned into a creator. And what you're doing here today, and speaking up and doing the thing and being really cool with all your lighting and stuff like that there, just brings so much ambiance to it. Just grateful. Thanks, brother, and looking forward to learning more here this week.
Well, thank you,
Yeah,
and ditto.
Showing how done right is looks like, right?
It only took me 4 or 5 seasons to get the setup going.
I have a question for Samantha. What didn't you agree with what Dr. Joe Dispenza said?
Good question.
It wasn't shown in this clip. I already thought, "Oof, no one is asking you." Getting off,
Right.
I remember him saying, your body is like an animal. You have to train it, force it to sit down. And I have another viewpoint on this. Plus, I think working with people, since I've also worked with people, doing body work, I think there's a lot of body awareness, and there's another approach for people who might be coming off the street, forcing them to sit down and meditate. Many people have a lot of, implications, what that means, and then you can make up a lot of stuff, what that might mean. And yeah, I think it's a great tool. I'm not saying, but I think there are other approaches which might be easier for most people nowadays, trapped in the digital, quickness of the modern life.
And
I hope that answers the question.
I would just like to add that the clip itself, in the context that we saw that in, that might, in fact, I can see how you might feel that way. But if you saw it in context, I think you would absolutely agree with the points he made. Anyway,
I watched. Go ahead.
I like his work, and I think if seen in context, I wonder if your perspective would be a little different. But there you have it.
And that's great, Dave. I'm happy. For me, it's it's always been, I don't need to agree with single thing everyone says. I still can appreciate the approach that people take. If it works, great. It's just my personal 2-cent opinion on what I disagree. And I watched the whole thing from him. That's why I said how didn't integrated. This was not the section. So it's just this little bit of his approach I see a bit different. Everything else I find great.
Example of autonomy, Samantha. You are quite autonomous.
So
Right,
I'm still curious. I have another question about that, Samantha, if that's okay.
Is it okay, Daphne, for you?
Of course, absolutely. That's what this is all about. Interactions.
So I remember that portion of Dr. Joe's speech too, when he said, you have don't worry. I think it sounded something like this. Don't worry, I will feed you later. You will be able to answer your text later. You will be able to go to the whatever television program later. But right now, I want you to sit down and be quiet, like your body's like an animal. And I think he's talking about all the animal instincts that we have to consider, because meditation is not easy. And I find the same problem. I start to meditate, and then I think, oh, I wonder, I feel a breeze. I wonder if I'm doing this right. Am I meditating right? Oh, no, I must be doing something wrong. I shouldn't be having thoughts, right? And I'm not good at it. Like I need practice, or I wish I were better at being a meditator. So his notion that you're an animal, sit down, I'll feed you later. What's your approach if it's different from that? Because I'd like to understand. You usually make really good points, and I'd like to understand the significance of why you mentioned that.
Okay, thank you very much. And I'm a bit embarrassed because I cannot pronounce your name. Can you tell me again?
I'm Trygve.
Trygve. Okay,
Trygve.
Thanks, Trygve. This is something, it's interesting what you say, and I don't. It's a big topic, and I will have to learn to break it down, maybe condense it a little bit. So first of all, let's say I think meditation is there to bring you out of this, you are not your thoughts. Yes, your body like is part of you, but you are not your body, right? The thoughts you have is not you, they are part of you. And if you can go into this observer state of understanding that thoughts pass by, like, let's say clouds pass by, but the sky is still there. Weather comes, weather changes, but environment or the climate or whatever, it's still, something is still there. And if you can, let's say in yoga, you have like this interesting thing. If you can still the ripples of the mind, your soul can reflect on the water. And and let's say now coming to the other part, this is just breaking it down shortly. So coming down to my approach is, if you there's this other way of, let's say, meditation is like, I see as a little bit of a more difficult approach nowadays, but might be suitable for many people. But most people I see is coming from the body. So once you work with the body, working with, most people cannot stand on 2 feet, for that their feet won't work. And I heard Agnieszka talk about it pretty interestingly. So once you work with the body and you start getting body awareness, start understanding, how can I place my feet? How do I have to, how are my hips? How do my arms work? What is stretching my arms properly? It will have implications on the emotional level, on the psychological level, on mental clarity, and being meditative in that process. Now, we can have a big, huge discussion on that, but that is like, for me, the best entrance into calming a system down. Also, I do not see forcing, I don't see the body as an animal you have to force because it's the instinct. It is the program. Your mind is not able to be still. You are always in this hyper things that has nothing to do with forcing your body down. It has to be such a coherent, it's you in this program. Anyway, I'm going to,
thank you.
does
for
that
sharing
answer?
that.
Yeah.
So I've heard that it should only take 20 hours to learn something. I would hope I can learn how to do meditation, or like what you're talking about, the body awareness, to get there. I would like to get better myself at doing this. Like last night, I asked the question, how do you know if you have entered into the fight or flight response? And then how do you stop yourself instead of making a reaction statement? Stop and consider and come up with a better idea and then respond. How do you do that? And I still don't know. It's already happened since then. I've already been through fight and flight twice today. And so now at least I'm noticing. I feel like, okay, that's probably good. If I notice that it happened, and then I mention that it happened, right? Then it's like, okay, so that's why I walked away or whatever. And I think what you're talking about is the same thing, where you're trying to get in touch with your body and let your body drive. You don't want to relinquish control to your body. You want to let your mind be the one who's choosing the alternative quantum leap, go through the obstacle, right? You want your mind to be able to decide that, but at the same time, it seems like you're in a car crash while this is happening, all at the same time. It's one great big car crash, and you don't have control. Maybe one day I could realize and get control, like Richard was saying, oh, hi, fight or flight mode. It's nice to see you. Hang on a second, I got to get my amygdala in here, and then I need my brain stem, and I need the other parts of my brain that make all the difference, and then we're all going to decide together. Well, I'm not that cool and collected.
Sorry.
May I have permission just to tie those two thoughts together? I got something here, and I might be off base, but Trygve and Samantha, would I have permission?
Oh, sure.
Sure. From you don't need my permission. Go ahead.
Yeah, so it's almost ties into what we're covering in the course here this week as well too, about input and output. So I'm seeing Trygve's made really great observations about being turned into states of 3 different states of fear, like all of us are. And you're coming out with the solution that works for you, Samantha, about your output, how you can find inner peace and deal with those inputs and stuff like that in a very selective way. And I think that it's a very unique walk, and we can take inspirations from one another and try some little tricks and everything else or too, because triggers are going to be a daily occurrence. So that's the input, and then we get a choice on how we're going to deal with the output. And it's so wonderful to hear this discussion, and it just inspires me to find new solutions there for dealing outputs.
Beautiful. Are we here to intellectualize the spirit?
No. I have solutions. I have actual solutions. Because this ties in beautifully to the course that I'm starting on May 10th, because one of the things that I teach in the face reading and sovereign body language is exactly how to see yourself for what you really are, through your muscle patterns, through your thought patterns and everything that happens, how you can see yourself and how you can then change it. And to change it is a very simple thing that's super complicated. And what I call it is effective inner parenting or inner self-parenting, right? A lot of the time what happens is when we grow up, when we turn 18 or 20, we move out of our parents' house and we start buying our own clothes and buying our own food, but we do not take care of our processes. We still think of them as our parents. And so we're still obedient to these external parents. And then even though they don't live with us, we have all these pre-recorded messages from 18 years of living with them. We don't need to live with them anymore. They're already inside our head. And so in that way, a lot of people relinquish control of their lives to their inner parent or to their parents that they've internalized, the outside parents, or maybe not even parents, maybe messages recorded from teachers or babysitters or grandma or grandpa or the next door neighbor that you really liked. Maybe they had critical comments or suggestions, and you're still obedient to these comments, right? And what Trygve was talking about, when you're presented with this opportunity to have a fight and you step into it instead of stepping out of it, why does that happen? Well, that happens because your inner child is constantly squashed, right? Constantly go back to under the stairs, go back to under the stairs. You have your room under the stairs, get back there. Right. And so then as that part of yourself is not heard and not understood and not even acknowledged, when it comes to a possibility of a fight, that comes out in like this fierce way, because it's the final, like a little opening to the true self that could step out. But you don't have to step out in anger. You can step out in a good, in a balanced way. The thing is to bring a really happy kindergarten inside your own head. Because as long as your kindergarten is like troll cave chaos and everybody's fighting and they're calling each other names and you're an idiot and shut the fuck up and get back to the thing under the stairs, that you will always have those reactions because that's your inner environment. And whenever there's pressure from the outside, the inner environment will burst out. So whatever's happening in your head already, whatever language, whatever words, whatever expressions you use your own head, the minute there is pressure and there's a fight or conflict or whatever, that inner dialogue comes out your mouth. And you might be so embarrassed because you would never speak like that to anybody else. But when you hear somebody lose their cool and start talking shit, know that that's how they talk into themselves in their own head. Isn't that tricky? Anyway, for more, tune into the course on May 10th. Sovereign Body Language, Part 1, face reading.
Nice one, Agnieszka. Thank you for sharing that.
I have a thing I can pitch in here. Sorry, I've been kind of away making soup. Otherwise, I would have said a whole lot more. But the one thing I do want to pitch here before things boil over or something is go look at the work of Jeffrey Martin. Go read the book, The Finders. by Jeffrey Martin, because he takes all his research is on this type of stuff and putting together meditation protocols and stuff. And there really isn't anything out there that matches the protocols he's put together in terms of effectiveness for people. But the one takeaway, the one thing overall that they found that research, and I'm technically part of it, I'm part of the finders community at this point, is that you have to find your fit. So not every type of meditation works for everyone. Some people respond better to awareness types of meditation. Some people respond better to body types of meditation. And once you find your fit, then that's really the thing that worked best for you. There is no one size fits all. So highly recommend his work.
What's his name?
Jeffrey Martin.
Thank you.
Very
I don't
well said.
know.
Thank you, Ryan.
He runs courses on this, and I know the plan is to make them much more widespread this year. So I don't know if he's currently running another 45 days program or anything like that, but you can probably find out.
I just have one more quick little thing to add. What Trygve said about the body, he said you don't want to listen to the body, you want to listen to the mind. Well, there's a problem with listening to the mind, because inside the mind we have a whole group of people. There's the mother, the father, the critic, the next door neighbor, the person that babysat you when you were 6, and they're still pre-recorded, and there's all sorts of people in there. So it's hard to listen to the mind because you never know what it is. But your body is actually has one voice, and it's in your heart, right? So if you listen to the body, you'll always be correct. And so, for example, when there's a conflict happening in your body's like, get the hell out of here, just get the hell out of there.
So I'd like, this is maybe what I was referring to. I'd like to just say, because I really agree with what Dr. Joe was saying. Sometimes back when I was working, okay, I would drive to work all the way to work, and I wouldn't remember a single left turn, right turn, anything. I got there on autopilot, right? So you get up in the morning, you make your coffee, you go to the bathroom, you get in the shower, you do all your stuff, and you don't remember anything that happened because you're just plowing through. And then there'll come a time you're in a meeting or you're at work or something happens, and all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, oh wait, I got to make a decision. And you wake up and you take control, you take charge of your life at that moment. And if you're in fight or flight at the same time, I don't know, but that's what I meant by let your mind decide. If you're going to take charge, at that moment is the right time to take charge because something just happened. And what I want to do is to learn to recognize these moments, and then whether it's the body or whether it's the mind, whoever is going to help me make the right decision, I want to get the team together, the amygdala and the brain stem and the cortex, whatever these things are. I want to get all the right team together and make the right decision. And it doesn't have to be the mind, doesn't have to be the body.
No, but you have to start with that inner kindergarten before you even wake up and get out of bed. And the whole autopilot thing, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. That's part of the survival technique, is survival mechanisms of your body. So the autopilot is not a problem, but what happens in your mind while you're on autopilot, that's the problem. Because if you're an autopilot and you're berating yourself and telling yourself you're an idiot for the whole drive to work and thinking about how that other bitch is going to be there again and you're going to have this conflict and these people are so annoying, all this, that's not a good use of your autopilot time. The autopilot time is there to serve you, to become better, stronger, brighter, faster, whatever. So use that time to develop that inner kindergarten, right? You're driving to work. Okay, let's see, mother, father, what would be the ideal mother? How would she treat me? How would I plan my day if I was the ideal mother to myself? How would I encourage myself if I was the right kind of father? The father I never had, even though if your father was good or bad, doesn't matter, because they never have the same morals, judgments, ideas, abilities, experiences. The people are different. Your parents are also 4 years old and they're their own issue. But your thing is that you have a 4-year-old child within you and the mother and the father that are also within you. And these people need to learn to raise that child right and not be abusive. And in this situation, in the age of darkness, whatever, that inner abusive dialogue is very, very common. So as freedom fighters, we need to do something about it.
These are really But sorry. May I just add just some small little thing? Hopefully.
Please.
in addition to what Agnieszka said, sorry, I forgot it.
Trigve.
So did you take trigonometry when you were in math in school? Trigonometry?
Trigonometry, great, thanks.
So it's trig like the math, and then V like the letter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think my little humble answer would be, yeah, it is difficult. It's the path is like the way, and I think in this kind of work, 20 hours will not be enough. Since
Okay.
the more I work with this topic, the more I notice how much I don't know and how huge, the inner space is. So the first thing is to be aware and notice how complex it is, would be my thing, and to start off figuring it out, finding tools which help you on the way. At the end, you are your own topic. You can just look for guidance, for people who've been up a certain mountain, and you can walk with them and they can show you, but at the end you have to figure it out a bit for yourself.
To add to what Samantha just said, I would like to add that it's correct, because in this kind of work, we're not trying to just be able to navigate one thing and have the quick lesson. What we're trying to do is self-mastery. And even what they were talking about is to reach the mastery stage. It is the 10,000 hours. And so that is the kind of effort and practice that we need to put in. And then to add to what Agnieszka said, when we are in autopilot, one of truly the purpose of human existence is really to remerge with the divine, that we are all the divine. And so when we are in autopilot, when we are driving, it can free, that mental power to, keep that, instead of running the negative programs, to keep that positive gratitude that we have in our hearts for all the things that are working, and say, I'm so grateful that today, it's a wonderful day. The traffic is not that bad. Every single step that we do to keep that attitude of gratitude as we move through every single action that we do, because truly in the end, it's about feeling that divinity that we are in every action that we take throughout the day. And that's basically the ultimate goal of meditation and calmness, and reaching that, that state of merging with the divine within the daily activities that we all have to go through, if that makes any sense.
I so agree with all of that. And Trygve, I'll just add briefly, it sounds like you are noticing more and more in the present moment, and you are on your way, not in your way, and it's a process. So congratulations to you, Trygve.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
I would say that there are hundreds, probably thousands of models for analyzing all this. But I like to keep it simple. What I've discovered for me is that I am my will. So in each instance, I try to identify what is my will. A lot of times I can't control anything, it's happening, but I can decide what is my will versus my ex-husband's will, his voice, my parents' voice. Who knows? I don't even remember all the people that have affected my life. But if you identify your will in the situation, then you can decide what you can do. It may just be meditate, it may be pray, it may be, whatever you can do about it. But the first thing you have to know is, what is your will? What do you want to happen about this situation? And then you'll be in control to decide how you're going to speak, how you're going to think about it. But as long as you're reacting to it instead of determining who you are and what you want, you won't be in control of anything. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Chris. Well, it looks like we're coming up on 2 hours almost. So before we run out of time and everybody needs to get going with their day, I just wanted to run through also the rest of the activities that take place in the Autonomy Forum, and the various calendar items. Every day of the week is packed with activities, and I'm sure many of you participate to many different ones. I had actually I invited a few people to come and talk about their events, the ones that they're hosting. I invited Stefano, but unfortunately he was unable to join, and I did pre-record his input, but because of my computer issues I will not be sharing it. But on Monday night there's a Movie Madness, where he actually analyzes and breaks down the specifics of various movies and what their significance is and contributions to the movie making world. And this coming week, there's a documentary that revolutionized the way documentaries are made. He's also been teaching on Thursday evenings and Friday mornings for both the US crowd and the European crowd, video editing tutorials, which have been really useful so far. And I'm taking advantage of those. It's the perfect platform for getting acquainted and seeing what the interest is for specific subjects. So I highly recommend everybody takes advantage of the various opportunities, but within their limits, because we don't want to overwhelm ourselves. There's so much going on. But here we have Erin that's hosting the Seeds and Weeds. If you would like to say anything else in addition to that, to what you shared earlier, Erin, about it, what the topics of discussions are. And
yeah, I thought it would be nice because there's a lot of us that are into gardening and a lot of people that are new to gardening. So if everybody could just kind of get together once a week, talk about things, learn some things, share. So that's my ultimate goal. This week coming up, I was thinking of just maybe sharing my experience creating a hugel culture. And if anybody else wants to share their experiences, like that's something I did during lockdown. Instead of sitting around playing video games, I decided to teach myself something new. So I know a lot of us did that. So I was hoping maybe this week everybody will come on and share some ideas, and some of the new gardeners, because we have a nice mix. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It is also food freedom, security, doing our own things and getting away from all this mess that's going on out there. But
yeah, great. Maybe I'll see if I can join this week, as I have some experience with hugel culture.
Actually, yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely. It'll be a lot of fun. And it's Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time.
Excellent.
But yeah, you definitely, if you get a chance, that would be awesome, because I'd love to hear more about your experience, and especially, yes, please.
Great.
Hey,
and then
Daphne.
Yes.
Can I chime in for a sec?
Go ahead, Bobby.
Yeah, it was very deep, profound Do It Live that I jumped into. I haven't been to a Do It Live for, I don't know, season 6 or something. And you guys are diving right into deep meditation. I'm sorry I missed the first hour. Can you recap that real quick for me? Was it all about meditation?
Sure. No, it was it started as let's look back on the week of autonomy, and I have found myself as a week 4 already having extremely powerful transformation in my life. And so it was mostly about people sharing how autonomy has been so impactful, and mostly due to the fact that it's very brilliantly laid out and structured with specifics of how to remove obstacles and move forward in our lives, and then how it ingeniously draws out what our skills are over time. And then we passed on to the spiritual aspect of autonomy, which I was pleasantly surprised by. However, it shouldn't be surprising that so many people are so spiritual in this community, because we are all in the growth mode. We're all in the growth mindset, and that's really something that we all need in order to move forward with life. So yeah, but I believe this Do It Live will be posted on the YouTube channel, so you can go back and review it afterwards once it's finished. I think it might be tomorrow or sometimes
Yeah,
next couple of days.
And I just wanted to make it a point about meditation also. It's like I've been meditating for a long time, and I think that meditation is a big part of what the world needs to do right now. And and meditation in the West was primarily done in, you know, Christian monasteries or some other such place, like Hermeticism. And I think that the Buddhist meditation is a big part of it, which evolved out of the Hindu yogic tradition. And I don't know. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of details to it, especially in the Buddhist path of how to meditate and exactly what the tradition of meditation is. They have these two meditations: it's shamatha and vipassana. It's mindfulness and awareness practice. And yeah, it's interesting. So I was raised in a Tibetan Buddhist community, and it was kind of like this crazy wisdom, kind of like drunk yogi guy who brought over the teachings from Tibet. And yeah, I'll just pitch. I'm going to do a presentation tomorrow at Atana Toasters about me growing up in a Buddhist military setting of teaching about enlightened warriorship. And so this is what my relationship to richest thing is, this relationship to ego. And what is ego? Is ego, you know, from the Buddhist point of view, it's like that's where all of our suffering comes from, solidifying this concept of self. And so I've been studying the philosophical teachings on shunyata, which is the study of basic space, I guess, and your mind and your thought within that. And there's 2,500 years of meditation on and study on the teachings on emptiness. It's called. It's like emptiness is a fullness. It's like everything in front of us is emptiness. And so what you're talking about the divine, it's like that's a sense of the sacred. And if you want to know more, come to my Atana Toasters presentation tomorrow.
Great, which ties in exactly with all the events that we were discussing. So if you want to practice your public speaking skills, that's also a really great platform. I believe it's led by you, Miguel, right? Okay, and then we have this week, Agnieszka will be presenting at Center Stage, which is hosted by Miguel. So if you want to hear more about what the face reading and body language course that's upcoming, please tune in to that. Michael, did you want to talk about Center Stage, usually what the topics are and the purpose, and how has that helped you hosting those kinds of events too?
Yeah, well, you know, the objective of the Center Stage is essentially to focus a spotlight on, you know, the people and the concepts, the ideas that are coming from the minds of people in autonomy, and the cool stuff that's happening in autonomy. And you know, it has definitely demonstrated that. I mean, you yourself have been on that. You were kind of you brought up this TRE thing that was kind of the focus of last week's Do It Live. And you know, Erin with her hydro tower that essentially was kind of what I think may have catapulted her into doing the Weeds and Seeds podcast. And so, I'm hoping that it's kind of the same thing for Agnieszka. She's going to show up and do a little bit on her sovereign body language stuff. And, hopefully that'll catapult her into, her doing that stuff. And, I think that's, what we're looking at with autonomy is there is so many skills and abilities that are within our community, with the experiences that we have. And it is about being able to communicate that to everybody else, hooking up the problem with the solution. I think, there's a lot of that going on. And certainly that's one of the things about Center Stage is just kind of highlighting that, that opportunity. So this week it'll be Agnieszka, and I, intend to do it for anybody else that wants to come forward. Dave was on there recently. We got a little glimpse of what Dave has got for us, and he's got a bunch.
Great. Well, that's really exciting. Other events that take place during the week, there is Wealth Battle Wednesdays. I'm sure I'll probably be missing a whole bunch of events to list, but by Lisa Manfredi, who also recently started a article reading and discussion. I have not attended these, but I'm sure there's a lot of wisdom in that. I don't know if anybody here has attended those and has any input about them. But okay.
Yes,
so,
I've attended Wealth Battle, and it's great. The thing is, you just have to sign up on their website to get access to the link. But it's great for anyone who would like to improve on their finances and some hacks, financial hacks.
Excellent. And then we have, let's say, May in the Magic Bullet. There's Project Mindset and Tips Techniques. There's a twice a month real estate and business investment think tank. And there's Market Things, where you can focus on marketing and learning the difference between digital marketing and all the other subcategories that might exist. I personally don't know what that difference is yet, but hopefully I will get to it soon. There are facilitated writing sessions, practical parapsychology, and starting soon, there's going to be a weekly Pork Fest planning meeting too. So there's a sewing circle. And then, of course, there's the weekly lecture on Friday nights. There's the Grand Theft World hosting podcast that you can attend also. Anyway, the week is packed. Don't overwhelm yourselves and make sure you go at your own pace. But this has been an amazing experience already, and I can't wait to see what the rest of the course has in store. Does anybody have any other item they would like to share or discuss, or as we get close to the end here?
Nice job, Daphne.
I just wanted to make a comment about Master Warriors and how that I feel that Rich is on this path of warriorship. I don't know if he's a total master like an enlightened being, but he's working on it. I'd just like to read this quote from this book from this teacher, Trump Rinpoche, about Master Warriors.
Go ahead.
So, over the centuries, there have been many who have sought the ultimate good and have tried to share it with their fellow human beings. To realize it requires immaculate discipline and unflinching conviction. Those who have been fearless in their search and fearless in their proclamation belong to the lineage of master warriors, whatever their religion, philosophy, or creed. So I think that's what's going on here.
I did want to ask
Great.
two things with this. One, is your Autonomy Toaster thing going to be recorded? Because I'm not sure I'll be able to make it. I would be very, very interested in hearing it though. And the other one is Center Stage recorded somewhere? Because I have no idea where that would be.
Yes, so both of those will be posted under events. There is a button at the top right corner of the events page where you can access all the old all of the old recordings. So please feel free to and if you cannot find it, it can be easily the question can be easily posted on the forum so people can share the link. Does that answer your question?
Well, I'm thinking like, if I'm not going to be there live, I want to watch a recorded version of it if one exists.
Yes.
And as far as I know, I've never seen posts of recordings of Center Stage or of the Autonomy Toasters talks anywhere that I know of.
Yes, they're in. They're in the past events in the comments of the past events.
Okay, that makes more sense then.
Yes, sorry, it wasn't clear.
I'd like to talk
Okay,
for a few
well,
seconds on Stefano's
please.
video editing tutorial. It's really valuable. For people who don't know, Stefano's got, I think 10, 15, 20 years maybe as experience as a professional video editor. And I sat in on his EU-friendly sessions over the last 2 Fridays, and I just got massive amounts of insights and tips on how to use video editing software, DaVinci Resolve, which is free to download. And he really knows his stuff, and it's just an incredible wealth of knowledge, and it's such a privilege to have access to someone with his level of expertise. And I'm a very new to video editing. I've done really basic stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's really good if you're creative, if you have a business and you need to market it to be able to put videos together and use B-roll and A-roll and all these different concepts. I've learned so much I think I've sat through on 4 hours of Stefano's tutorials, and I've got to go back and rewatch that stuff because he just gives you so much of the vocabulary around video editing. The shortcuts, the ways to use the keyboard, hotkeys. It's just really useful, really good stuff for anyone who's interested in video editing. If you're an absolute newbie, I'd say get into the program and play around with it first. But if you're kind of rough, sort of familiar with the software, and you just want somebody to show you where the important stuff is, the low-hanging fruit, so that you can get off the ground and start putting videos together and edit them, Stefano's courses and tutorials are really, really good. And as he's not here and we can't watch the interview with him, I just wanted to make sure that was said on his behalf. Check it out. It's great stuff.
Thank you, Nick. And I can attest to that. And I would say that if you you can get the recording and you can actually do a follow along. So as you work on your file, you can watch the video, pause it where you need to, and just follow along. It's really valuable. And I'm working on my skills as well. So it's been really precious knowledge right there. So I think we're coming to a close. Anybody else who wants to add anything? Trigby.
I'd love to hear a joke about landing a ship. All right, I came in that a little bit flat-footed, and I don't have one, so I just wanted to, it's all of us as learning autonomizers, we're kind of into this vibe of when a production comes to a close that we dock the boat, right? So let's.
Right.
I just wondered if anybody had just
We
kind of
lined the flight.
make me laugh. I need it. I'm too serious right now.
I'm not good with jokes, so I'll take somebody else's cue.
Everybody's frantically Googling jokes about.
Yeah, I think that's Dave. Dave's got one.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah,
I would
it's
say
gotta
that
be
Dave
Dave.
would be a
I
good
think that
candidate.
ship has sailed.
I think
Hey.
Oh, perfect. That's perfect. And I think there's an outro. I think the outro is what is needed.
Outro,
there you
then
go.
after show.
All right, here we go.
Okay, here we go, Nick. That's your cue.
Ready, set, go.